7th of February edition of Monday Night Raw 2022. We are on the Sci-Fi Channel. Did we get the zombie? Did we get anything to do with sci-fi? No, we just got a normal, generic, shitey, pish edition of Raw.
Well, I almost turned into a zombie watching this shite. We kicked off Raw with a quiz bowl, but we're going to kick off this Raw review with a little quiz bowl of our own, and the category is going to be wrestling. And the question is, how bad is Monday Night Raw? Great, good, decent, poor, or utter dog shite? Stevie, what's your answer?
None of them are my answer, because utter dog shite does not sum this show up shit enough.
Ding, 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 ding. Correct. So there you go, guys. Stevie's right. He wins the wrestling review quiz bowl here. But we kicked off Raw with a quiz bowl, and this was probably the best part of the show. We've got the fourth and final challenge and the Academy challenge, whatever it was. It's 1-1. If RK Bro win this, they get a title rematch. If they don't win it, they don't get a title rematch. They're answering questions. Obviously, Alpha Academy start off pretty well. They get 4-2 up. A question comes up about Shakespeare, or, I don't know,
Literacy?
No.
What?
Fuck me, I just butchered that word there.
What's the word, bro?
Literature?
Literal? Aye, that one. Aye, it comes out about it, what happened next?
No, that's hold on, this is one word I just cannot pronounce. Literally.
Right,
like English history, like language, like literature. You know the man I'm hoping, don't you?
Literature.
That wasn't it, but that's it. You didn't say it right, but you know what I mean.
Literature. We're getting there.
We're getting closer.
Let's just get to the end of this fucking video, please.
So the question is, like, which one of these which one of these, like, stories has been remade the most? And there was, like, Shakespeare and all this stuff, and Macbeth, and Hamlet was on there, and it was Gable's chance to answer, and Otis is just staring at the screen. Ham. And then Gable's telling him, shush, like he does, and he picks, was it Shakespeare or something like that, and that was the wrong answer. The right answer was Hamlet, and Otis is like, I said ham. I mean, that was alright, but to me it would have made more sense. I mean, Gable's supposed to be this, like, guy that doesn't get nothing wrong. To me it would have made more sense if Hamlet was the wrong answer, and the Irish guy took Hamlet as the first answer because Otis said ham, and they got it wrong because of Otis.
Funny.
I think that would have been funnier. I mean, to get it wrong just because Gable didn't know it, I think didn't make a lot of sense, since up to this point he's known absolutely everything. So I thought it would have made more, if I was doing it, I would have had the answer not be Hamlet, but have the quizmaster take Hamlet as the first answer, because
the front man.
Because Otis was saying ham. That would have made sense to me. Then they tied it up at 4-4, and again Gable got the last question wrong. It gave RKO the chance to steal, and it was a question about how many ounces are in a pound or some shit like this, and it all came down to the scales and calibration, and we get it, weed jokes, but I mean, really, it's getting old now. RK Bro won. They hug after the match. Gable is freaking out because the buzzer of the wrong answer, the noise of the wrong answer. I mean, it is a bit overdone. It looked a bit shit, to be fair.
I know it gets me. Matt Riddle is like a 36-year-old man, but these jokes are designed for like a teenager who's like 14 smoking weed for the first time.
I know.
And it's fucking awful. I
know. Me. I don't get it. I didn't get it, but I mean, it's alright. I think when RVD's back and have the wee, back scene scene with this back scene segment where they make a wee high joke.
Back scene stage?
You know what I mean? Like, come on. Then it leads to a match of Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. The Alpha Academy win. Gable defeats Angelo Dawkins. So, I mean, it is what it is. Crap match. Up next with Bobby Lashley sending a message to Brock Lesnar. Basically just comes out and says...
With MVP and his cane that I noticed had a skull on it.
It was had that skull for a while. Brock Lesnar says that Bobby Lashley said Brock Lesnar wanted a rematch last week. Brock Lesnar says Bobby Lashley...
Phone broke. Can this guy string a sense together? Right, guys. Basically...
Right, no, I can get it third time, Lucky. Is watching this shit is fucking tiring. I can't even speak here. Bobby Lashley was speaking about last week when Brock Lesnar demanded a rematch. Bobby Lashley says that Brock Lesnar doesn't deserve a rematch. He then went on to state, when was the last time Brock Lesnar even defended the WWE title or even had a match on Monday Night Raw? Which, to be fair, that's a decent point for Bobby Lashley. Brock Lesnar just doesn't compete on Raw or SmackDown.
I'm pretty sure Brock hasn't had a match on Raw in like 20 years.
I don't think he's had a match. I think the only non-pay-per-view match he's had is where he beat Kofi Kingston on that SmackDown. I think that's the only non-pay-per-view match he's had.
Since his return?
Aye, since he returned in 2012, which is fucking shocking. And again, with Brock Lesnar not competing on Raw and SmackDown, it does take away options. I mean, why could we never see the main event of SmackDown, Brock versus the Usos? You know what I mean? The Bloodline 2-on-1 handicap match, or you've got like the Elimination Chamber. You could have beat the clock matches. You could have all 6 participants of the Chamber. You know what I mean? Like maybe like Team Brock versus Team Bobby, 6-man tag on Raw. But you don't get any of that. You get nothing because Brock Lesnar doesn't turn up and has. I mean, I'm not asking Brock to wrestle a 20-minute match, but I mean, he could at least go a couple of minutes, surely.
If you're going to come out and do a segment where you beat up guys for 2 minutes, why can't you do a 2-minute match?
Exactly, but we don't know.
I think it's all Finn's trying to protect the attraction.
But there you go. Bobby Lashley was hyped up tonight. Honestly, he didn't really say much. And apart from calling it Brock Lesnar, he had no interaction with the other participants in the Elimination Chamber match, which makes zero sense to me. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's Monday Night Raw. It's not supposed to make sense.
Next up, AJ Styles versus Damien Priest.
Damien Priest, last week, was it? Lost for the first time clean. Who did he lose? Was it Kevin Owens?
Yep.
He lost to Kevin Owens last week for the first time clean since being US champion, and he lost this time again to AJ Styles clean. No complaints. I mean, AJ's in the Elimination Chamber match. I mean, you can't really have AJ lose here, but it's just, it looks like they've just given up on Damien Priest. That's back-to-back clean losses. And I'm not saying you can't lose clean, but it's a bit weird that they have him go months and months without losing. Then all of a sudden, he loses back-to-back. So that tells me that I think they've given up on Damien Priest. They were doing this whole, two-face gimmick where he's like an angel and a fucking demon, and I don't think
it's a bit goofy.
Yeah.
It's a bit shitty.
I don't think that's working. Up next, we had Miz TV. The guests on Miz TV, unfortunately, were the Mysterios. And
before we go into this segment, right? When was the last good talk show segment in WWE? Like Miz TV, the Owens show, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
The best thing I've ever seen, like the Talking Smack was no bad with the Miz and Daniel Bryan when they got a bit heated, but everything you get on Miz TV is garbage. It's just. And this is
no different.
We need 15 minutes to fill. Having said that, though, this was probably one of the most is it controversial or is it edgy? I don't know, but I mean, at least this wasn't your boring, generic, normal Miz TV. Miz came out, they were talking about underhanded tactics. Rey Mysterio basically called him a cheater. Miz responded to Rey, how come it's not cheating when Rey Mysterio uses underhanded tactics, when Dominic uses underhanded tactics, or when Eddie Guerrero uses underhanded tactics. But when Miz does it, he's a cheater, he's a bad guy. Basically, Rey Mysterio went, yeah, that's true. I
lie, I cheat, I steal.
Dominic wanted a rematch. Miz accused Rey of hiding behind his son. Dominic's face-to-face with Miz. And Miz looks at Dominic and says, oh, you're quite a bit taller than your old man. Are you sure you're not Eddie's child? This caused a big reaction from Rey Mysterio, and Dominic ends up punching the Miz, and then they have a match. Dominic beats the Miz.
Clean?
A bit of a distract. I mean, I can't remember, I'll be honest.
I'm going to assume a bit.
Maurice looked hot. That's all I remember for the match. But yeah, no, I thought the Miz saying to Dominic, "Are you sure you're not Eddie's son?"
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and he also called Eddie Guerrero a cheater.
Exactly.
I know that's his gimmick lie, but it sounds better when Eddie Guerrero's saying it rather than when you're saying it about a dead man that's supposed to be loved.
Exactly.
So it's like see if a guy's like, oh, admits he's a waste of space, it doesn't sound as bad as you talking about him when he's dead. Exactly. He was a waste of space,
Damn it.
But aye, there you go. I mean, one of the better Miz TVs, but that's only because every Miz TV is fucking terrible. But it wasn't great. But I mean, that was interesting, him bringing up Eddie Guerrero. Then we had Bianca Bella versus Nikki Ash. Nikki Ash loses this one, no surprise. I guess Nikki Ash, Rhea Ripley's done. Rhea Ripley wasn't on the show, but ain't complaining. Dana Brooke kisses Reggie. I think Reggie wants to be more than friends. I don't think she's interested. R-Truth, the Japanese dude, and the Samoan woman.
This is awful.
Run in.
I didn't even see this, right? But see him just mention the people who are in this. I want to fucking die.
Yeah, basically Dana Brooke and Reggie run off one direction. R-Truth says he's got this, he's got a plan, and he wants to run off the opposite direction. And
it's actually that bad.
Tasawa and Tamina just look at him and they run off the direction where Dana Brooke and Reggie went. Which is, I mean, unless you're doing a lap where it's like a figure of 8 or something like that, you know, and you have to meet up again, then why would you go the opposite way? It makes fucking sense. So, I mean, R-Truth sees him running to the right, then he decides, I'm gonna go to, I mean, Jesus Christ. We had Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Kevin Owens said to Seth Rollins backstage that he's going to beat Austin Theory and get added into the Elimination Chamber. Pretty sure that's not how it works. Kevin Owens does beat Austin Theory clean. You know, it's just this 50-50 fucking booking, isn't it? Like, I mean, last week you've Austin Theory beating Owens, and this week you've Owens beating Austin Theory. Fear my hand cannot be contained. My boredom of watching Raw can't be contained much longer.
What the fuck are they going for here?
You know, I can guarantee either two things will happen, right? From the moment this guy debuts, I give him no more than 3 months, but let's say 6 weeks, and he'll be in the 24/7 title picture. Or I think he won't debut. I think it's a rib. I think they're going to keep airing it and he just won't debut. You'll never see him on Raw. Because, you know, aye.
That just shows you how shit Raw is.
We start talking about Fear My Hand and my co-host here falls asleep.
Fuck it. It's just awful. Like why are we getting these vignettes for like 4 months? But like, is he just sitting in the one room? Like, are we led to believe that this is like he's there every week just doing a wee hype promo, or is this just the same pish that they filmed 4 months ago? I'll tell you what. I mean, how can you build up a guy where his Titantron is just moves he's doing on main event?
And all the moves look fucking shit.
Exactly.
No, I mean this guy was a jobber on Raw last time. We've seen him, and he'd Jinder Mahal, a former world champ, and a big dude called Shanky, 7 foot tall, with him, and he was a bum back then. So are we supposed to believe on his own he's going to be a killer? I'm not buying it.
Nope.
With another segment, Doctor segment with Alexa Bliss. Nothing really to talk about, guys. Just shit. Just fucking terrible. Lita comes out. Becky Lynch comes out. Lita says she might be the underdog, but she doesn't mind. The fans have got her back, and the fans are going to make her a 5-time world champion. I've got a problem with every fucking legend that returns. They can never do in-character stuff. They always have to talk about it in like a kayfabe fashion. Like, they're always... Like, Lita's cutting this promo as if she's Amy DeMa and not Lita. I mean, why do they always go out... Why can't they be in their character? This happens every single fucking time. You know, every time a legend comes back, they act like this. And it just makes zero sense to me.
Right.
So, Becky Lynch attacks Lita. She gets the upper hand. She goes back into attack her again. Lita manages to get the upper hand, hits a twist of fate, hits a moonsault without breaking her neck, and I consider that a success because...
Tell you what, guys, see this match at the Chamber? It's going to be fucking awful.
I don't think it's going to go... It's not going to be a 15-20 minute match. Speaking of awful, with Kevin Owens, he approaches the GMs, or whatever you call these two fucking wasters in a suit, Pierce and DeFille. He mentions how nice their suits look, even though they look like shit. Yeah. He says that he wants to be added to the Elimination Chamber match. They say that's not how it works. Then he talks about WrestleMania, and Sonya Deville says, you might not even be at WrestleMania. Which I guess is true, but it's quite a random thing just to throw in there. And then Kevin Owens takes it really bad and grovels for 2 minutes about how Texas means so much to him and that he has to be there. And this was fucking terrible, guys. Absolutely shocking. Speaking of terrible, with Liv Morgan versus Doudrop.
It's fucking torture, this.
Doudrop wins with a big splash off the top rope. Where did they go with Liv Morgan for here? You know, she came so close to beating Becky Lynch, I think, on 3 straight pay-per-views, and now she's just losing to Doudrop. So, and she lost, I think, couple of matches in the build-up to the Royal Rumble where Doudrop qualified. So, I mean, Liv Morgan's went from, you know, being so close to defeating Becky Lynch and needing one more chance to do it, and now all of a sudden she's just losing clean to everybody. So, I mean, the Liv Morgan hype, I think's dead. I never really understood the hype. I would say she's improved in the ring since the Riot Squad days, but I just don't see Liv Morgan being a champ or carrying the women's division. I don't see that at all. No. Then we had main event time, Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins. This ends in a DQ. Kevin Owens comes out, attacks Riddle. Orton comes out, makes a save. So, of course, we don't have Feather Long, we don't have Wee Teddy, but we all know it's a tag team match, player. And we have a tag team match. Rollins hits the stomp on Seth. Rollins hits the stomp on Riddle. And he gets
the next fucking time I get poked in the dome, there's going to be issues.
There's already issues. This Raw issues coming to an end.
Do you know you're enemy?
That's SmackDown.
I know, from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so Seth Rollins hits the stomp on Riddle. I'm too tired to do this shit. Picks up the count. They celebrate. Kevin Owens is too late leaving the ring, and Orton hits him with an RKO, and that's it. That's how Raw ends, guys. Fucking dreadful. I mean, it got one of the lowest ratings ever. I think 1.3 million overall, and it didn't even deserve 1.3 million. This show was shit. I thought the quiz thing at the start was the best part of the show. Apart from that, it is really hard to say anything that was good about this show.
I feel like giving it a -3, 2.
I mean, there was a couple of comments that I felt were alright, like when The Miz talked about Dominic being Eddie's son, and then when Lashley went on to talk about when was the last time Lesnar defended the title or even had a match on Raw. But again, is one-liners like that enough to save segments or enough to save a show? Definitely not, in my opinion. I'm going to give this a 1.
I'm giving it a 0.
So there you go, guys. 0.5. There's your overall rating for Raw. If you didn't like it, then, I don't know, fucking stop watching.
Stop watching.
That's it. Till next time. Peace.